And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you may be. This is Office Hours with David Meltzer and Blaine Bartlett and Rhett Power. So you've got two out of the three today.
Good morning, Blaine. How you doing, man?
Good morning, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. I'm on your side of the world right now.
Are you up in Vancouver?
I am.
Yeah, you're speaking at which summit is it? It's the
Web Summit. Yeah.
Web Summit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we had a
When do you
good.
go on?
Well, we had on Friday, but we had a good dinner last night. David hosted another great dinner, and God, we had maybe 60, 70 people or so, and
Great.
wonderful turnout, wonderful conversation. So
I love it. I love it. So, and is Dave still there?
I think they took off this morning pretty early.
That's what I thought. Yeah, so he's in the air right now. So, yeah, it's hard to get a connection jumping across country here. So, hey, we got a good show today. I just had a very brief hello with Channing Moreland and Makenzie Stokel, and here they come. Great. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
Now, you have got a fascinating business, and I'm going to just read from my crib notes here. You've got the 10th anniversary of your organization, so you've been around for a while, and this is your official launch into the LA market. This is this 10th year, and what you're launching here is talent access and logistics for corporations and companies. So kind of putting those two together so that they've got a compelling draw when they put their programs together. Is that a fair assessment of how I put that?
Yeah, we make it really easy for private and corporate event planners to find vetted entertainment and speakers and book them. We handle the contracts, payment, all of the logistics as well.
All the back office stuff.
That's
so
right.
Yeah, the question I've got, and then Rhett and I are going to go back and forth with questions here for you guys. How did you get started? The original format of Office Hours on Thursday was Office Hours: The Soul of Business episode edition. So my question here has to do with when we think about the soul of business. Corporations will bring people in, and they will host their all hands meetings and all kinds of different things here. Ideally, it's connecting. The idea is to connect people. How does the work that you do facilitate the meta objective of connecting? When these corporations are actually doing their programmatic offerings.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see that at the core of what EVA does as a marketplace, we're connecting these entertainers or these speakers that maybe would never have been found by these companies. And so that's a core centric piece of the company, is that we're connecting and curating. And what's been really special to see is we first got started in college ourselves. That's when we first built the very beginning MVP of our platform and product. And so we were originally booking entertainment on college campuses. But over the years, it became clear that there was a real need to connect entertainers, talent, speakers with corporations. And there wasn't an easy way for them to communicate or find one another. And so every day, that's really what we do, Blaine. So I love that you asked that. And it's cool to see that groups that maybe never would have found each other get to through EVA.
That's great.
Well, guys, I have to applaud you. It's wonderful what you've done, and go to Belmont. Belmont's a wonderful school. Spent a lot of time in Nashville, so I know you had a great experience there. What's next for EVA? Are there plans to move beyond sort of the corporate events and expand internationally? Also, what technologies are you guys or trends are you looking forward to use in your platform? What's sort of on the horizon for you?
Yes, great question. We definitely are going to keep expanding geographically. So LA is the next market we're going to launch in. We're going to keep hitting all of the major markets in the US and then globally. But we are at the same time building new technology to not only bring more value to our existing clients, but new types of clients, maybe not just corporate event planners. We're currently building an API to really be able to plug in with partners who also serve corporate event planners, like hotels or transportation companies, catering companies, all different types of large organizations that service corporate events. And they'll be able to access our pool of talent to give to their clients. So we can kind of just keep making the process of automating the booking really easy for everybody in corporate events.
That's, the automating of the bookings. I think that's one piece, and this is the back office, piece.
Mm-hmm.
Virtual events. I mean, one of the I think really interesting things that has happened post-COVID is the familiarity that people have developed with, and the usability that the people have actually had access to of virtual environments. How does that come into play in terms of how you work with your clients? Yeah, and I'm thinking here mostly around a hybrid approach to an organization's conference, that sort of thing. How do you actually facilitate that, and how do you actually curate the talent from a hybrid virtual perspective?
It's a great question. It was the
I'm a
only
trained professional. What can I say?
Yes, it was how we were able to survive the pandemic in the first place. Was we found a way to completely shift all of our offerings and our acts to virtual experiences. And at the time before 2020, we were just booking entertainment, live music. And so that opportunity of going virtual really showed us we have to do more interactive, more activities, more speakers. And so that only helped us come back to in-person. But what's been interesting to see is, just like you said, the familiarity for clients and the openness to trying and experiencing new ways to connect. And so we still see some clients that have never gone back to in-person. They love the virtual events. They love connecting in that way. It's really easy for their remote teams. But we also see even more value in getting in person. So that hybrid approach, some virtual, some in person, a nice blend for clients. And we've built our platform so that you can request, am I looking for just virtual? Am I looking for a hybrid act? Am I looking for in person? And so we can really work within any realm.
Guys, what's the strategy? I want to get strategic for a second. What was the strategy behind sort of a city, a market launch instead of, a lot of people will say, well, I'm just going to go do this, nationally. I'm just going to put this out there. And so what was the vision behind doing it sort of market by market? It seems kind of smart to me, but I'm kind of curious what your rationale was.
Yeah, so when we first started, our whole focus was local entertainment, local up and coming bands. And so that's where we could bring value to people visiting that city who didn't know the local talent, the local vendors. We said, we know the best artists in town and we can connect you with them. So then as we grew, we kind of started doing that, growing organically in every city. And our specialty still really is the local entertainment. And a lot of our clients travel to a city for their event or for their conference, and they want that Austin feel. They want that Nashville feel.
They want to know where the locals go. So that's yeah.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Great. I love that. Folks, where can people find out more about what you're up to? Either Makenzie or Channing. I'll let either one of you field this. I know that we've got the bookwithiva.com here, but is there a place that they can get a little bit more information, or is that the one that has all of the information?
Yeah, that's our platform, bookwithiva.com, but you can follow us on all socials. Book with Eva is our tag on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and so would love to have you follow along on the journey.
Great.
Well, thanks so much, Blaine and Rhett. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure having you both here. I'm going to circle back with you. I'd like to get booked on more stages.
Gotcha. We can help with that.
Okay, that sounds like a great plan.
Blaine Bartlett.
Yes, ta-da! Hey, it's Blaine Bartlett in lights. The alliteration is perfect.
I see
good.
that.
You look good. You look good, man. I think it's right.
Hey, what can I say?
Love it.
Makenzie, Channing, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate you being on the show today.
Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was fun. I love this kind of business, and I say in business, it's not really. I'll go back to my first question. Connection. Yeah. How do we facilitate deeper emotional engagement? And what they're doing, I think, is a really fascinating and I think integral part of making that circle close, so that there's resonance there.
What I love too is I so resonate with that, because every time I go to a city, I mean, I know right before I came to Vancouver for this thing, I was looking to see what artists were playing, and if one of my favorite artists was playing, could I make time to go see them, right? And I do that everywhere I go. Like, I check out the local entertainment, because you never know what you might what you might want to go see. So I love that.
Yeah. So our next guest coming up here, actually two. This seems to be the duo show today. He's got you and me, and now our previous guest, and now we got a very interesting conversation, a little shift here, more into the granular piece of business, which has to do with money, the flow of money, fintech, that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So we'll just bring up Prashant Floria. There you are. Thank you. And Reena Jariwala. Did I get that right, Reena Jariwala?
Yes, you did. Perfect. Thank you.
Well, welcome, both of you. Now, you've got a fascinating organization, and I know that we don't really have a specific topical focus today in terms of what you wanted to talk about, but I want to just kind of open it up here. Fundbox. First of all, I like the name. Fundbox. There's a box. What's inside this box? Can you talk a little bit about, you've been, over 25 years in doing, work in this space. What are some of the things that you have actually identified that is most intriguing about the work you do with the clients you serve?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having us. I really appreciate it. So Fundbox is an embedded capital platform for small businesses. And that's just a fancy way of saying that we provide a number of financing solutions, whether it's loans or lines of credit or invoice financing and other things, to small business owners. And we do this by providing these products inside of the tools and systems they're already using. So to your question, Blaine, about what have we realized in our journey of serving small businesses and trying to help power the small business economy through capital, is that rather than having the customer come to us, to our website or what have you, or mobile app, it's a lot more effective if we go to them and show up in the places where they're already doing business. So for example, we partner with QuickBooks. So if you're a QuickBooks customer and you're looking for some sort of working capital or financing solution, you never have to even leave QuickBooks to be able to access Fundbox, get approved for some sort of credit or financing product, get the funds, and keep working on your business. And this is really helpful because our customers are busy people. They're out there trying to run a business. They don't want to spend all their time doing more back office stuff. So that's one of the things we've learned along the way. And so we've today focused the company entirely and exclusively on working with partners that already serve those small business customers.
Love that.
Fascinating.
Rhett?
Yeah. I mean, and you're doing such a valuable thing for small businesses. I mean, I know when I first started my company, trying to get a loan, trying to get a line of credit, trying to get any help at all was just impossible. And even when we had, an EBITDA that was pretty good, I mean, it still didn't get anybody to give us the time of day at the bank. Fintech is evolving rapidly. So with all the new tools and AI and talk about how that's going to just make this even easier and easier. And you hit on it a little bit, but I want to talk about, I think that's a really important point. Your customer experience is really easy. You make it easy on them. Are there tools in AI and other technologies that you think that are going to change this even more and give people more access and easier access?
Absolutely, Rhett. So it's, just like you, I too am a small business owner, and that's what really drove me to come here to Fundbox and really help enable our mission. When I think about small businesses, I really think about how that capital that they need is really that oxygen for that business. And
Yeah.
these small business owners, right? They didn't go to school to learn how to run a business. They went to school to learn how to run whatever it is that they're doing, the product they're serving, the service that they're offering, kind of thing. And so really what Fundbox is doing is figuring out how can we meet the customer where they are, when they need it, and make it as easy as possible. And this is where AI is so important, right? Like all these different tools, all these different means and mechanisms in which we can engage with the client, really support them through, chatting with us, if that's a simple way to connect with us versus picking up the phone and calling, or being able to use like a lot of the machine learning and algorithms we've developed over time to be able to quickly understand that small business owner without having them go and grab all these documents and go stand in line at a bank and then go back and forth for weeks only to get denied, kind of thing. So I would say that we're definitely thinking about AI and all the different ways we can use all this new tools and technologies to really make it easier for banks to get that oxygen, to get that working capital that they need.
So it's helping you
And I'll
guys
add
too.
a stat.
So it's helping you guys make
Sorry,
decisions too, right? So so in other words, it's helping you guys as a business understand that customer better and make a faster decision. That's okay. Good.
Absolutely. Talking about faster, Rhett, I'll just add a stat here. Our average customer gets a decision in less than 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Because what we're doing is we're pulling information from the tools they're already using. So if you're using Stripe as a payment system, we can get your payment information, or QuickBooks, your ledger data, or any other SaaS or invoicing app you're using. And that information is available, and it gives us a much better picture of your business than you having to get a personal, you're having your personal credit file be reviewed, because we are seeing the actual transactions in your SaaS or your bank account or what have you, and really giving you a decision very, very quickly. And that's just one of the many ways in which we try to use technology to make the life of the small business owner just a little bit easier, because we know that they could do with all the help that we can give them.
In the time that you guys have been in business, the Fundbox has been around. I mean, you've unlocked over $5 billion in cash, in working capital, more precisely working capital. And you've actually worked with over 500,000 small and mid-sized businesses here. So that's kind of historical data. What is it that you're seeing in the fintech space? What are you seeing emerging that you think is going to be the next thing that absolutely needs to be paid attention to?
Yeah. First, I'll say that the number of small businesses is growing faster. There was a blip, or not a blip, a step change at the pandemic when the number of new business starts more than doubled, and that hasn't gone down. So many pandemic era changes are starting to get reversed a little bit, but the new business formation is right up there, very high. So that we're seeing that. The second thing we're seeing is that more and more of small business owners are going digital. And when I say digital small business, I don't mean it has to be an e-commerce business. You could be a hairdresser, but using some sort of software to manage your schedule. That's a digital platform you're using. So today, over half of the SMBs in the US, and there are about 33 million of them, are using some sort of digital tool to run their business. That's really important. And the third thing is that the people that provide all these tools are looking for ways to add more and more services within those tools to make it easier for the small business owners. And that's where we come in. We're not the full end-to-end platform for a hairdresser or a plumber or an electrician or a small manufacturer. We are the capital engine. So we're providing the financing inside of those tools. And so this thing that's often called embedded finance or embedded fintech is very, very powerful. And I do think that over the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see small business owners very conveniently accessing a variety of solutions. Fundbox obviously provides lending and credit and capital, but there'll be insurance solutions, payment solutions, all sorts of financial and other services, all embedded within the tools that they're already using. Again, to make their life simpler, to be able to use their business context to give them the best possible product.
Was that a little foreshadowing of your game plan?
it's not just foreshadowing. We're in the thick of it right now. I mean, we work with over 25 partners, again, ranging from some of the larger players that you've heard of, like QuickBooks and Stripe and SoFi and so on, to some of the more niche players that focus on specific verticals, trucking or property management or home service professionals. And the theme is the same, which is how can you serve customers where they already are, using the data they already have, rather than taking them out of their day-to-day work and having them go somewhere else, and then just stand in line or wait for a long time to get access to a critical financial product.
I love the way you're removing friction from the process. It actually makes things move much more easily. I'm thinking of Bambi skating across a frozen ice pond here. You just give a shove and away they go. There's no friction to impede the progress. So Reena Jarawala, Prashant Faloria, Funbox. Check them out. And Gigi, why don't we run the, there we go, funbox.com. If you've got an SMB, a small business, a mid-sized business, and you want to actually streamline what you're doing and create less friction in your life, check this out, funbox.com. Reena,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Take care. Thank you.
Yeah. Good stuff. I mean, I love this. This is this show. Now we're going to break stride here just a little bit. We're going to go from twos down to one again here. So Judy Wilkins-Smith is in the studio, and she is now online with us. Hello, Judy.
Hi, it's nice to be with you this morning. How are you both?
We are doing great. I'm going to speak for me. Rhett, how are you doing?
Life is good. I mean, hard to complain.
Life is good.
Life is good. You are a constellation expert, and I'm going to ask you to define that term here in just a little bit. But yeah, I did a fair amount of work with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross years ago. I mean, and that really kind of dates me a whole bunch. But in family systems work also, Virginia Satir's work in family, so I'm going to just kind of back the truck up here and kind of lay a platform here. When we're talking about constellation, and you've worked with Fortune 500 companies, you're the founder of Systems Dynamics. I mean, everything operates in a system. I think of these mobiles that we hang over a baby's bassinet. One piece moves and everything else moves. It sets
Exactly
in motion, and it's all trying to create some sort of stasis, some sort of balance. So it's always in movement. Where does your work come into play? And we'll just start with the definition of what do you mean by constellation?
So you were great when you said Virginia Satir, because a lot of the work is based on Virginia Satir. And so what a constellation is and does is I use it a lot in the work that I do. People will come to me with an issue and say, how do we sort this out? And what I say to them is, you can't see the connections, the obstacles, the opportunities in your head. You can think about it, but you can't see them. Mm-hmm. If we take all the components of the issue that you want to work with, and we give each one a representative, either a live representative or a piece of computer paper, now you start to actually see what's inside. And the more we get those to move around, the more we have conversations, the better the insight you get, because now you're using sight, you're using sound, you're using touch. And so you have this multi-sensory piece that comes through for you, and you have an experience of that, which they often call the aha experience. Mm-hmm. And an aha experience means I got it, and in my gut, I got it. So you align beautifully. So what I'm doing is teaching people to take professional and emotional DNA, put those together, and look at the best possible outcome, because they've seen what's there and they now know what they can do. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it certainly does. Yeah, Rhett, I was going to follow on question, but go ahead. I'll circle back.
No, follow up. So it's good.
Yeah. In the times that I've actually used constellations with organizational teams, I've actually set it up in a kind of a visual place where I've had people stand and represent different roles.
Exactly.
And and this is not so much a question as much as it is a testimonial, making it visible. And I just want to acknowledge that, making it visible, and you can actually, you get some gestalts that, components in it where you give it a voice. And how does this sound to you? If you were going to be that part of the system, how would you react and respond to that? So you can map a system in a very interesting way. And to your point, the ahas, it's kind of like, I'd never thought of it this way.
Exactly. They haven't seen the different pieces and who's looking at who and who's not, who's connected and who's disconnected. And in fact, one of the first people I ever worked with was a CFO, and he said, they tell me you're good at problem solving. I don't want any of that woo-woo constellation stuff. And I went, okay, got it. So I said to him, show me all the bits and pieces on Post-its. And we had a look, and I said, I'm a very visual person. Can we put those down on the floor on bigger pieces of paper, and let's just give it some arrows? And we did that, and we worked for about 2 hours, and he said, I've just solved my problem. And then he looked at me and went, that was a constellation. And I went, yep, it sure was.
Yeah, reminds me of, when I was a kid in the farm. How did you catch a snake? Well, you're distracted over here, and then you come up behind it and grab its head.
Exactly. And so I think what I love, and you've obviously worked with us, but what I love is that and I make it very logical to begin with, because it is logical. Mm-hmm. Make it very logical, and then you drop into the lower pieces or the deeper pieces, and people are suddenly getting insights. And so what I teach them as well is, you don't just inherit your physical DNA, you inherit your emotional DNA, and you inherit your organizational DNA. And so we need to look at what wants to change in this DNA. So there are always two pieces. One piece that wants to stop and the other piece that wants to start. Let's have a look, because what wants to stop is about to give what wants to start its purpose. And so often your purpose in life is based on those multi-generational patterns.
Yeah. You've got a big event coming up, Ignite Your Breakthrough DNA. That's coming up soon, and it's at Disney World. I'm curious, tell us about, what transformations do you think people will have, or will they have? Like, tell me about these events and what people can expect, and why they should join you.
So first of all, it's at Disney because you're wanting to make a little magic. So I say make magic in the heart of magic, at the place that started magic. So that's number one. What they can expect is this: we're so good at focusing on what's wrong and what we need to fix. And I've said to people, okay, enough. There are 4 days. You can have 1 day where you look at what you want to fix, and then we're focusing on where you're going, because that's the piece that we keep missing. And again, what you want to fix sets up the purpose for where you're going. What you've got to learn to do is have a big enough and exciting enough goal to pull you past all of your excuses. So that's what we're going to set up and take people all the way through it.
I love that. Yeah, it's just, when we think about movement in an organizational system, or movement in life as an individual, how I describe something determines how I feel about it. How I feel about it generates my behavior. So this work is all about altering the description. And one thing that I've noticed is one of the catalysts for movement is I don't like where I am.
Yes, and I love I don't like where I am. I want to say to people, good, you're telling me you're stuck, which means your box is now too small. We need a bigger box. So and you were right about that, because what happens is the event generates thoughts, feelings, language, actions. And that becomes a mindset that then becomes the truth. Only it's not the truth. It's just your truth. And you can change it anytime you want to. So I love when people are dogmatic or annoyed or angry, because I know that it's sitting right there. The minute they shift that, what they're looking for emerges.
I love that. Judy, I want to, we don't have time in this. I mean, these are short form interviews, and I'm just going to speak for myself here. I do another podcast. So I'd love to have you on the Soul of Business podcast. We've got a longer form. This conversation is just fascinating to me. And you've got a book that I'd like to actually spend some time on bundling. It's called The Hidden Power of Your DNA, and it explores how genealogy and ancestral patterns actually can create the basis for a profound transformation in life. And I'm looking here at phase shifting rather than incremental bumps. So I'll send you some information about the show, and folks, those of you that are listening right now, check out the podcast, Soul of Business with Blaine Bartlett. I think you're going to find it's interesting. Little shameless plug there.
Well, I got to jump in.
Go
anytime you want to, Blaine. Judy, I'd love to have you on. I have a book TV show.
There you go.
And got to have that on because this is fascinating. And maybe I'll have you and Blaine on. Just Blaine, I think maybe you should come on and ask questions on that particular episode because.
Oh, I'd love
Go
to.
for it. I'm game.
This is a great dialogue. I love this and so helpful. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you, though.
Oh, no, that's great. That's great. Judy Wilkins-Smith. Again, October, what is it?
It's October 9 through 12.
At Walt Disney World, Breakthrough DNA to Becoming Unstoppable. Yeah. So check that out. And we will have you on some other shows, Judy. Thank you very much.
I can't wait to see you both. Take good care.
You take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love this show. Rhett, just a quick comment here. I love interacting with you. I love teaming up with you on these events. I really do. And I'm going to take you up on that offer to kind of come on the show. Yeah, I've been remiss in this too. I want to get you on the Soul of Business podcast too. I think we would have a ball just kind of riffing for a half an hour or so.
Thank you. Likewise.
Takeaway for today.
I guess I never can do one. I think I love the focus of helping the stuff that they're doing. The first two that we interviewed were, they're doing business things that actually help people and actually make people's lives just a little bit better. I think, and a little bit easier. And so I think I really like when we talk to businesses like that are doing something that I know I would have wanted when I was a business owner or when I am a consumer or out in the market. So I love those. And I just love this smart conversation we just had about with Judy. I mean, those is what makes this worth it. And I love that people are doing this work in the world and, just to make our lives a little bit better and to understand ourselves a little bit better. I rambling there, but I love the smart conversations like that.
I do too. I mean, that's one of the highlights for me in doing this show is there's some incredibly talented and intelligent people that we have the opportunity to interact with. And I guess my takeaway has kind of been in line with that and then in what you're talking about too. Everything's a relationship in some way, shape, or form. I mean, who I am is defined by the relationships I have. And it's how I make sense of those relationships is what's important. My relationship as a business owner with money and my cash flow and that sort of thing, my relationship with the purpose of my business and how I create connection. Yeah. And certainly, I mean, this whole constellation thing, I mean, you look at an organization, all any organization is a collection of people that are in relationship.
Right.
That's all it is. And if the relationships are working fairly well, you got a pretty good shot at being successful. But we don't know what those relationships look like from a constellation perspective. Where's the nexus? Where's the centers? I mean, that stuff. Where's it broken? So that's my takeaway is just paying attention to the quality of the relationships I have in my life, because it's going to define the success that I have.
Well, like you said, I mean, those people make you who you are and just make life better, right? I mean, the network that we're in of people who are so generous and so kind and so helpful. I mean, you guys have been extremely helpful to me in my practice, and so just eternally grateful for that. But thank you. A great point. Great way to close it out.
Good. Folks, you've been listening to the Soul of Business. Nah. Folks, you've been listening to Office Hours with David Meltzer. Yeah. And the co-host today, myself, Blaine Bartlett, and my partner in crime, Rhett Power. David is on an airplane right now, and he's waving at you from on high. But thank you for joining us on the show today, and we will see you in the next Office Hours. And my admonition at the end of just about every talk I give is find a way in your life to be a center of distribution, not a center of accumulation. You'll find your life works a whole lot better if you're giving stuff away. And in the meantime, have a great rest of your day. Take care.